Hey, what's up everybody? Bryce here, and in this video we're going to do a deep dive on the forms builder. So this is going to be more information than you could ever want on the forms. We're going to cover every aspect of the forms, from the aesthetics to what each of the buttons do to how to create our own custom values in forms. So to get started, we're going to head over to Sites, Forms, Builder. And then up here in the top right hand corner, click Add Form. And so it auto-populates form 13, and I'm just going to input some of these standard values. So over here on the right, there's standard values of full name, first name, last name, phone, email. These are just all of the values that are commonly used within forms that get associated with the contact filling out the form. So everything from date of birth, source of where they came from, the text that you can add to the form, and I'm going to put all these onto a form later on. But to start out, I'm just going to add first name and last name so that as we come into styles, this is where all of the aesthetics of the form are going to be completed. So if we click inline forms, this is something that I use pretty often. It's a space saver. So instead of being one line on top of the next, if you click inline forms, now it goes every other row. So if I put phone here and then email, then it builds them two columns. There's two columns essentially. So I'm going to get rid of these, and I'm just going to leave it as first name, last name, and then click outside of here to get back to your options. And I'm going to go back into styles and then show label. If this is on, you're going to see the label here, but if I turn this off, then it no longer has the label and it just has the placeholder inside of. These are both input text slots, but there's a bunch of different options that we're going to go through later. But I like the show label on. And then all of this is going to be aesthetics for the form. So for form style, if you change the background, you can change the background color, make it red. You can change the border here, which you can barely see that it's a dash line right now. But if we put dotted, and then we increase the size of it, you can really see that there's dots there. And then we can increase the corner radius. Let's make it 20. Let's make it even higher. Let's make it 50. So now the radius there's a big radius there, and we can increase the width or we could decrease the width. And so we'll bring it back to around 600. And then padding, if we change the padding on top, it's going to put more space in between the top of the form and the elements of the form. So if we put 50 here, now there's a bunch of space there. And it's the same for the bottom. We won't be able to tell right now though. And then on the left, if we increase that to 50, and on the right, if we increase that to 50, it just puts padding between the elements and the side of the form. And then we can also add a shadow. So let's just make this purple so it's super visible. And we're just going to make everything stand out a lot right now so that you can see what's going on. So horizontal, it's going to shift it horizontally. And if we did -50, that would move it to the left. But let's do +50, have it be on the right. And then vertical, again, +50 is going to move it down. -50 is going to move it up. So we'll just do -5. And blur, it's going to make it so it's not such a harsh line. There's still a line down here, but for the most part, it's not a harsh line anymore. And then spread, it could go far out from all corners. It just expands it. So then the field style, again, this is going to be the exact same aesthetic changes, but it's going to do it to each of the fields as opposed to the form as a whole. So if we make this a blue, changes the background of the field, and then let's make this text yellow, and border, we can do line, and then border if we make it thick, and corner radius, again, let's do 20, make it a big radius, and width, let's do 750. And it's not changing because it's already at its maximum width, but we could shrink it, and now the width is less. And then padding, again, a lot more padding on top, and then we can do the same on bottom and make these huge, and then left, and same with the right. And now it's back to center. So then the shadow, you can add a shadow to these. Let's make it a green, and horizontal 50. You can see it's the exact same things, it's just the difference between the form as itself and the placeholders. So there we go. Let's actually bring that back down so that we can tell the difference. And then same with the label, which is going to be the text up here. So if we change that label color, let's make it yellow. You can make it larger and make it thicker. And then the placeholder is going to be the text inside. So if we make that blue, actually we'll make it purple and larger text. So that's the aesthetics, and then you can also add your own custom code here. And if you want your logo to be on this, then you just turn on agency branding and your logo shows up in the bottom left corner. So that's all of the aesthetics for the form. I'm gonna reset this form so that it doesn't look so wild, but I just wanted to show you the amount of customization that you have with these forms. Alright, so we're back to a blank canvas of a form. I've not changed anything with the styles. This is as it comes, so I'm going to switch it back to an inline form because we're going to add a lot of elements to this form. We're going to add every element imaginable to this form so that you can see what's happening with each element. So here in options, this is where we change the name of the form. So we're going to change this to test form. And on submit, this is where you choose what happens when someone submits the form. So if you add a button to the form and they click it after they've entered all of their information, this is what's going to happen. So it's either open URL or send them a message. And then if you send them a message, you can type in here complete, and they would get a message that says complete, and you can change the background of it and the font color and the font size. But I'm going to open URL, and we're going to send them to a URL pascosystems.com/thank you. So that's a URL that I have for when someone submits a different form that I've created. So we're just going to send them there, and I would create a custom value and put the custom value in here instead of typing the URL, but I'm going to delete this form later, so I'm not worried about it. If you've set up your Facebook pixel, then you can put that pixel ID right here. And if you plan to use it inside of a funnel, then you don't have to put the ID, but I still always put the IDs in the ID in my forms. And then you can choose what happens on page view and on form submission. So on page view, I would just leave it as page view. You could change it to lead or whatever you want. These are all the events that happen within the Facebook pixel, but I'm just going to leave it as page view. And on form submission, I'm just going to do, for this one, I'm going to leave it as submit application. But again, depending on what this form is doing, you could change the Facebook pixel event that's occurring. and then sticky contact down here. If you turn this on, as soon as someone fills out the form, if that same person visits the website, it's going to automatically input all their information based on what they previously put in that form. So I don't like using this because it already has all the information there, and if they want to change it, they just have to erase and then put the information. So I leave this off, but some people turn that on. So we've gone through styles, which is all the aesthetics of the form, and we've gone through options, which is just what happens when the form gets submitted. And you also name the form here. So now we're going to go into fields. Now I'm going to put every single field that we've got in here so that you can see what each of them does. So to start out, we've got full name, first name, last name, and all of these are just going to be the user inputting their own information in here. Email, and I'm actually going to take out full name because I prefer first name, last name, phone, and email, but full name is just an option where they can put their full name as opposed to putting their first name and last name separately. So then organization, address, city, state, country, postal code. So this is all going to be information. You can see this is all information that they put in here. Country is the first one where they have a drop down option and they can select the country from a list of options. Then postal code, and this is all going to be when someone fills out this form, it's all going to be input into their contact information based on the information that they fill out here. So if they fill out the form again with different information, if they use the same email and phone number, then it's going to, depending on the settings you have, if you allow duplicate opportunities or not. If you don't allow duplicate opportunities, then it's going to update their contact information with the newest input that they have from this form. So postal code, website, this is all standard stuff so far. Source, date of birth, and I'm going to do date of birth above source so it goes up there. And then text, you can add your own text and click on that, and then sample text, and then you can change the aesthetics of the text here. And if you click outside, now it's going to bring us back to our options in HTML. So you would type in, by clicking on this, then you would type in custom script if you're into coding. Then you can add your own code into this box here, and then click save. I'm not going to add any code to this, so I'm going to get rid of this, but that's how you add code, custom code to a form. And then image, if you wanted to add your own image to a form, then you can choose the file. And so now whatever image you want to show up on the form shows up here. And then CAPTCHA, this is making sure you're not a robot. So they would come in here and this is how they would see it, and they would click I'm not a robot, and button. So this is going to be how they submit the form, and with the button, if you click on it, then you can change the aesthetics. You can change the text in here. Submit form here. Nice. Can't text. Can't type. Can't talk. Nice. Subtext. So this is just what would appear below the form, or below the text. So apply now. And then you can change the button color. Shadow, I'm going to make it a full width button. And again, all the shadows and padding and everything, I am going to change the subtext color to white so that it's visible. And I'm going to save this form. So now we've got all of the different standard options here. All of these are going to be the user inputs their own text, and then the country is a drop-down menu, and I've uploaded my own image, I've created this text, I'm making sure they're not a robot, and I have my button. So now we're going to go over here into custom fields. And I've already created a number of custom fields, but if you haven't created a form yet, or you haven't created any custom fields on a form, this will be blank. So then you would come down here and click Add Custom Field. And now you've got a number of options that you can select from, and you can select single line, which is what all of these are so far. So we'll do single line, name, test, object, it's going to be a contact, and group, this is where you want this information to appear in their contact information. So if you want it to be in their main information, you would select contact. If you want it to be general info, select general info and then additional info, and I'll show you at the end of this video where all of this information ends up within the contact's information. But for now, I'm just going to select general info, placeholder, test A, and prefill test B. And then you can select additional options and create a unique key so that you can create a custom value like key. And so when you are inputting their information, let's say you're creating an email and you want this to pull information based on what they've entered, then instead of going to, in the text of the email, instead of selecting custom value, you would go to contact, and then you would select custom field, and it would pull from this unique key that you've created. So you'd be able to go to contact, custom field, test, and it would pull the information that they've submitted from this form. And then you can add a description if you want. I'm going to leave that blank and save. So if that doesn't make sense right now, I'll explain that with a visual later, but I'm going to continue making this form for now. So now search, and sometimes it doesn't pop up right away. So I'm going to just continue making these custom values, and then I'll have to back out and then come back in order to see them all. So add custom value, multi-line. This is going to be more of if you want a paragraph response, then you can select multi-line and give them more space to work with, but it's essentially the same as single line, they just have more space. So next, test, multi-line, test MLA, test MLB. And then it's going to be test multi-line as the unique key, and save. Oh, forgot to select a group, general info, save. And then add custom field, text box list. So this is giving them the option to input multiple text boxes. So save, field name, test, multiple test boxes. Contact, we'll do additional info for this one, and test MTBA. Actually, let's make this a real thing. So favorite fruit, and apples, and then value, you could do apples. So this is just going to be what it's called, and then what's the pre-text that's already in there as an example. So then add an option, oranges, and pears. And then I'll just show you kiwi. So apples, apples, oranges, oranges, and then in the pears, you're going to see the pre-fill as kiwi. So that'll be good for now. Additional preferences, we're good there. Save, add custom field. Number. So this is where they could input a number and number example. General info, actually we'll do additional info, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Just so you can see the difference again. And save that. And I'm going to save this form really quick before we get too far. Form is saved. And I'm going to back out and then go back into the builder. So we need to come over here, test form. So now we've got the form that we were looking at and custom fields. And now all of our custom fields that we've just created should show up here. So test. So now you can see test and test A. And so test multi-line A, favorite fruit, apples, oranges, and number example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are what we've created so far, and now we're going to create more. And phone, this is a select phone number, phone example, general info, phone, let's do work phone. So instead of phone example, we'll do work phone in case they have multiple different phones. And pre-fill value, we're just going to leave it blank. And then a new custom value, monetary. So if they want to add their own value to, let's say you're asking, hey, what would you pay for this course? And, or what's your budget for this course? Let's do that. Budget. And group, general info, and budget. And then we're going to leave these blank. So if you want them to be able to autofill their own budget that they're willing to spend, you would create this. You could also, I'll show you, add custom field. You could also do a drop down. So this will be a single drop down. And we could do budget drop down. Then group, general info. And so now 0 to $50. And then add an option, 51 to $100. Add an option, 101 to $500. And then 501 to $1,000. And finally 1K plus. So now if you want to give them options to select, and I will save this form one more time before we get too far so we can see the work that we've done. I don't know why it won't let me. It's not auto-populating these, so I'm going to come back into Form Builder, go back to Test Form, Custom Fields, and now we can add the final ones that we've done. So we ended at number example, so then we added work phone, budget, and budget drop down. Okay, so we'll save that. And then we're going to continue adding custom fields. So now we've got drop down multiple. And with drop down multiple, it's going to be the same as drop down single, except for the user is going to be able to select multiple options. So it works kind of like a checkbox, but instead of going through and checking the options that you want, you're actually going to have a drop down menu, and they'll be able to select an option and then go back into the drop down menu and select another option. And however many options you have, they can either select one, they can select all of them, they can select a few of them. So to show you what that looks like, we'll just say drop down options, and let's say you're selling courses and you want to know what courses people would be interested in. Then you could, let's just go to additional info, and you can put course A, add option, course B, add option, course C, and course D. And you could use this as a survey, or you could use it as someone actually selecting what they're going to get. So additional preferences, same as always, and save. And then we're going to add another custom field, radio select. And I don't ever use this. You can enter options and then choose a file to upload. I don't use the radio select field, so I'm going to skip that one. And then you can go to checkbox. And this is, again, going to be similar to the multiple options, but all the options are going to be listed on the form instead of being a drop-down menu. So let's do checkbox example and additional info, and then we'll do option A, option B, and option C. We'll save that. And then date picker is just going to be a drop down that allows them to select the date. So additional info. Let's say you wanted to figure out sign up date. And you could use this to say, hey, mark the date that you're actually signing up, or mark the date that you want to sign up, or mark the calendar for when you think you'll be able to join an onboarding call, or anything like that. This is just going to be a date picker. And then we've got file upload. So if you want to have them upload a file, then you can select which file types you want them to be able to upload. And you can say file upload. And group additional info. And then if you want them to be able to upload all of them, then you just leave all selected. Or you can just have them be able to upload JPEGs and PDFs and PNGs. So we will allow multiple files. So in this, you can set the number of files that they're able to upload. So if you wanted to set it to 3 files, then we're going to leave this as all. So now they can upload any file type, but they're only allowed to upload 3 when they're filling out this form. So save, add custom field, and signature. Signature. And we'll put that in additional info as well. Save. We'll back out of here. Go back in test form, custom fields, and all those are now there. And so we'll do the drop down options. Checkbox example. sign up date, file upload, and signature. And with these, some of these are, you can see these are inline, but some of them, like the multi-line, takes up both columns, even though this is an inline form. So if you wanted to make this look a little bit better, you could like bring this up here, and now it's going to be side by side with that. And you can go through and do that for all of your different options and coordinate it how you want it to be and make it look good. And I think that looks good, so I'm going to save this form. And then there's a few different ways that you can integrate this form where you want the form to be. So the first way is you can go into funnels or websites. You can add it to an existing, but we're just going to create a new funnel for now. Test funnel, create funnel, add new step, test, funnel, path, test. We're going to create that, and then we're going to create from blank, and we're going to go into settings, and it's going to be path of pascosystems.com/test funnel. So we're going to save that, and then we're going to create from blank. I'm going to interrupt this video for 30 seconds to tell you about an insane offer that I'm giving away for free right now for a very limited time. As a token of my gratitude for supporting my YouTube channel, I'm giving away my SaaS Secrets course absolutely free. You don't need to fill out any forms to get it. You don't need to sign up as my affiliate to get it. It's just a free course that I'm giving to you to say thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. In this course, I teach you exactly how to structure your SaaS agency to get and keep clients so that you can work from anywhere and replace your paycheck with passive income within months using HighLevel. And in addition to this free course, I'm also giving away 2 more courses absolutely free when you sign up as my affiliate. You heard that right. You get the first course free, no strings attached, and then you can get 2 more courses for free just for signing up as my affiliate, which doesn't cost you any extra money. Oh, and when you sign up as my affiliate, you also get my direct number, and I'll help you in every way that I can to become successful, because when you're successful, you keep using HighLevel, which is good for both of us. So hurry up and claim your free courses today, because they won't be free forever. Just click the link below this video where it says claim your free course here, even if you're not my affiliate, and I'll see you in there. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. And in here, we're not going to make an actual funnel right now. I'm just going to show you, you can upload a form in here. Select your form, and I'm going to select the test form. So now this form that we just created is on this website, and so that's one way to do it. And another way is you can go back into the form builder, and there's a few different options for ways to integrate this form directly from the form builder. So forms, builder, go into the test form, and go to integrate form. And now you can see there's multiple different options for ways in which you can integrate this onto your funnels and websites. So you can do sticky sidebar, and that's just going to have it come out of the side of the web page, and you can select either the left side or the right side. And then you can allow minimize and name the minimization title, or you can just leave it so that you can't minimize it. You can also do a polite slide in, so it's going to pop up from the bottom, and again you can have it on the right side or the left side. You can have it pop up, which you can also have a pop up, and I'll show you how to do that in the website itself, but you can have it pop up, or you can have it inline in which it's always a part of the website, which is pretty much what we just did. We just created an inline. If there was more on the funnel that we just built, then we would have just put that form there, but that's what inline does. And then trigger types, you can show on scrolling percentage. So if you want it to come in from the side, from the right side, after they've scrolled 50% down the page, then you can set it by doing sticky sidebar, right side, show on scrolling 50%. Or you can show after a certain amount of time, so show after 30 seconds, or you can always show. And then you can activate on, let's say you want to activate on 2 visits, or always activated. And you can also deactivate after showing, let's say someone's visited the website 3 times and they've seen this form and you want to quit bugging them, then you can deactivate after showing 3 times. Or deactivate once the lead is collected, or you can never deactivate it. And then the options for actually getting the form on there are you can copy embedded code, and then you can embed this code onto your website. So if we copy this code, or you can copy a form link, and then you can use this on any standalone inline form with any layout options. So you can send a link to someone, and so I'll just copy this link, and I could send it via email, and now when someone opens up that link, it's going to bring them directly to the form. I can also open form from link, and if I wanted to test out, which I'll do in a second, I can just click that, and as I'm building the form, I can just go to integrate form, click that, and I can see how all of these works. So we'll go through this in just a second, but I can also copy this embedded code and embed it directly onto my website and funnels. But for now, we're going to open this form link, which we've already done, and we're going to go through how each of the different standard sections as well as custom fields look within this form. So first name, normal. These are the standard events. You would add your phone number here, email here, and one thing that I should point out is these asterisks right here denote that the field is required. So if we come back into our form builder, you can just select the element and then click required. And you can do that for each of them. You can make it a hidden field and hide the value, but I'm just going to make them required. And then for the custom fields, same thing. You can require, and for phone, you can enable country picker, budget required. So you just go through and select which ones you want to be required and which ones you don't. And now let's continue going through the form. So you would enter your phone, you would enter your email, and then organization. Again, just enter, it's a type it in type of thing. Address, type it in, city, state, countries a drop down. So you would select your country, postal code type, website type, date of birth. It allows you to select an actual date. So you could select the date, and someone was born April 1st, 2023. So it's just a calendar selection. This is how the text shows up. This is the logo. The CAPTCHA just confirms that you're not a robot. You can click submit form here. Normally the button's at the bottom, but I put it right here. So we're going to skip that for now. And then test A. So this is the single line. And again, it's just a text. Number, you can use the arrows to select a number, or you can input a number. Test multi-line. Again, this is just a longer section that allows the user to type a paragraph if you want a response, or looking for, let's say you've got an unsubscribe page and you want the user to list a reason why they unsubscribed or give details, then you could use a multi-line here. And then work phone, again, this is going to be a phone number. That's too many, but it'd be a phone number here. And if you selected that country, enable country code picker, then you would need to put the country code in there. And budget, you would just enter their budget. They would enter their budget there. Budget drop down. So this is where we had the options that allow them to select this is their budget. And then the drop down options. This is the multiple drop down options. So you can select course A, you can select course C and D. And then, oh, I didn't want to select course D. I meant to select course B. So this is the difference between the single, where if you select multiple, it switches it, and the multiple, where you can put multiple in there. You can put all of them in there. And like I said, this works much like the checkbox, where you can select multiple. You can just see all the options with the checkbox, whereas the drop down, you go in and see it once it's open. And then favorite fruit. So this was the value that we assigned as a demo value. So someone could say oranges here and pears here, and then apples. So now it's apples and oranges and pears and apples. Then file upload, they just click this and it brings them to their file, and I've got a PNG right here, and PNG was one of the ones that I allowed, so I could do that. I can upload another file, and we could do a JPEG. And so now you can see it got rid of the PNG, so they would have to go in and select the JPEG and the PNG at the same time if they wanted to upload multiple. And then signature, you can sign here. And then clear and restart, and clear and restart. So that's all the different forms and form fields on this. And if I click this again, actually I'll show you how that works if we let it time out again. So clear, I'll give this a second. So now the verification is timed out again. And if I click the button for submit form, then it's not going to let me because, one, I've got an invalid URL, so I would have to change the URL, and I'll make it that. And the CAPTCHA is not saying that I'm not a robot. And I also have an invalid phone number, so I would change that to just a random number, and click this, and now submit form. And click submit form, and it should bring me to my thank you page. Yep, so thanks for registering. Now, I wouldn't have this because there was no free trial, so I wouldn't send them here, but this is the link that I put as the URL to go to once the form is submitted. So everything's working properly. And the last thing I want to show you before we wrap up this video is where all that information went and how we can utilize it. So I know this has been a very long video already, but pay attention because this is very important for how we actually take that information we just gathered from that form and reference it in our marketing material or emails that we're sending to clients. So to start out, we're going to go back into HighLevel and go into contacts. And then you can see we've got this contact here with all the random information that I input on that form. So if we click into that contact, it's got all of the information from that form. So first name, last name, that email address that we used, the phone number, the random phone number that I generated, the date of birth, contact source, and all of these are based on where I put that information in the form. So when we selected contact, general information, or additional information, all of the places that I selected contact shows up here, and then general information and additional information show up in these categories respectively. So general information, it's got the business name, the street address, all of this input information that we put as the general information, and it's got those custom fields that we created, the test multi-line, the work phone, budget drop down, and then it's got the additional information, and some of these are standard fields that are always in the contact, but some of them have been added because of that form and putting that information into these fields. So at the bottom you can see favorite fruit and number example, and the drop down options and checkbox example have all been added. The sign up date, and we left that blank. The files that they uploaded have been here, and then I cleared the signature, but that's what would appear here. So all of that information has been uploaded into the contact folder, and it's now all in one place. So then you can see all the actions that this contact has taken, and these are things that have been sent to the contact as far as emails, as well as any conversation, any ongoing conversations that this contact has had. It's all going to appear right here. But because I input this email address into the contact form, these are things that I had done previously with the associated email address. But because I put that email address into this form, it now input all the new information and overwrote the old contact information and associated all these conversations with this contact based on that email address. And that's due to the fact that I've got it set to not allow multiple contacts. So if I wanted to, I could come in to settings and business profile. And then if I scroll down to the bottom under general, right here it says allow duplicate contact. And if I click that on, now if someone submits a form and it's got the same email address, it's going to create another contact and associate all the conversations with that new contact based on that input form. But I'm going to click this off so that anytime someone signs up with that email address, all of that information from the form gets associated with them. So now we go back, and you can also see all the actions that this contact has taken, all the trigger links that they've clicked, the pages they visited. Everything is right here. And if you have tasks or notes on this contact, they all appear here. Any appointments they have, everything is in this contact page. So now how do we take this information and use it in our emails and our marketing materials? In order to do that, you go to marketing, emails, templates. And again, you can do this in these templates as well, but we're going to do it in the emails templates and create new and blank template. And then I'm just going to add some text so that we can see this as an example. And I'll get rid of this. And here in the custom values, normally we come down here and select custom values, and you can do all the custom values that you've created and input them right here. But in this case, we're going to come up here to contact. And now all of the standard fields that are here that are associated with the contact, if you put them here, so first name, so generally we do, hey, contact first name. And that just allows us to, as it's sending the email, then it's going to say, hey, John, or in this case, hey, Bryce, because that's the contact that was on that form. But if we want to add more, then we can click on custom values again and do contact and then go to the very bottom here where it says custom fields. And now all of those fields that we created that now have information associated with them from that form that was filled out, now you can input that information into your emails or your text templates. So if we click budget, and let's just say we wanted to say, hey, contact first name, thanks for signing up. Just wanted to confirm that your budget was still this. Is that correct? And so now when we send them this email, we don't have to send a new email to every contact based on inputting their budget. We can automate this process. So now when they fill out the form and we want to check in with them, we can just say, we can create this email template once, have it send at a certain interval, and say, hey, wanted to check in and make sure this budget that you selected in that form is still your budget. So you can do that with all of the contact custom fields, and all of the fields that you set up in the form are going to get associated with that contact. And then when you send that contact an email, it's going to pull from the information that they put into that form. So I hope this helped. I know there's a ton of information with forms, and we initially sent our form to this thank you page. And again, you can change that URL in the form so that it sends to whatever page that you want it to. I know this was a ton of information. Forms have so many options, and with the custom fields that you're able to add, it can be a little bit overwhelming at the beginning. But I hope this video helped clear up any of the confusion around some of those standard fields or any of the custom fields, along with where that information ended up and how to utilize that information once the contact submitted a form. If you enjoyed this video on forms and you want to learn more about how I built my own agency from the ground up, I do have a course that goes through step by step how I built my agency. It's this agency you see here, Pasco Systems, how I built it from nothing. I walk you through step by step how I did it in my course. And if you're interested in that course, click the link below. I've got it below this video, and sign up. But otherwise, I hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, you can get my SaaS Agency Secrets course right here by clicking this link under where it says claim your free course here, even if you're not my affiliate. And then you can also get my other two most popular courses, my SaaS from Scratch course, along with my onboarding tutorial course that you can use as your own course. By clicking here and signing up as my affiliate, you'll get a 14-day free trial along with both of those free courses, as well as direct access to me to help you become successful with HighLevel. Go ahead and sign up now.